Mm-mm.
Welcome, everyone, to tonight's Skeptic Bible Study, Episode 10, Joseph and the Technicolor Dream of Not Dying, where we take a critical yet fun look at the book some people tell us is good. On this episode, Joseph gets a multicolored dream coat. However, his siblings are less impressed with their brother's gift.
Yeah.
And instead push them into some good old-fashioned slavery. So won't you join us for some colorful biblical morals?
Woohoo! Let's go.
For those new to our Skeptic Bible Study, the podcast is broken up into two segments. First, our hosts start by reading a chapter side by side with the annotations. Then, at the end of each chapter, a review begins, which allows for open mic comments from the Skeptic Crew. Want to be part of the fun? Look for the link below to join our stream, or feel free to target me in chat at Amy Newman. Remember, guys, not only to like and subscribe, but to set the bell button to all so you can get live reminders and be part of the fun. All right, let's jump into the categories and see what's on the menu.
Let's go.
Paradventure. Before we begin, I'm going to start by going over the specific Bible we'll be reading, along with some helpful category marks. Categories, you say? Why, yes I do. You see, we're going to be reading from the Skeptic's Annotated Bible, an entire King James Bible lovingly fawned over by a skeptic who decided he would add his own notations. These are little flagpoles of sanity put in use to remind us that, hey, maybe slavery is evil, including categories like absurdity, injustice, and cruelty, but also a good amount of intolerance, contradictions, and conflicts with science or history. That doesn't mean it's not packed full of misogyny, false prophecy, and some questionable biblical family values. Now, we won't skip the good parts that the Bible has, only that these passages seem far fewer in number than any priest or pastor seems to suggest. So without further ado, won't you come join the Skeptic Crew? Woohoo! How are you tonight,
Ready
James?
to go, Amy?
Absolutely. Are you
I'm doing good.
ready
I
for
am
some
doing good.
Technicolor sibling rivalry?
I am. Now, if anyone isn't aware yet, Amy was just plugging the channel on Tart. They had a stream tonight where they're introducing tons of new atheist-based channels. So that's a good idea to rewatch that stream. You'll probably find a couple other channels that you probably want to subscribe to for more wonderful atheist skeptic you're going to see here, where we are going to have a good old-fashioned Bible study. So let's go.
That's right. Go on to tart.live. You want to give them a shout out because they are fostering an awesome atheist community. And
Absolutely.
Dak, I see you in the back. We're going to read chapter 1 and then we'll get you in. So without further ado, let's get the screen shared.
So this is the Technicolor coat. So this is the first instance of a pride shirt.
And honestly, with such
In the
a
Bible.
beautiful coat, I feel like nothing could go wrong. I feel like this is the part in the Bible. I know we've been reading a few chapters, but I feel like this is where it's all going to end up happy. And so
this happens in every family, you know. You've got 12 siblings, and of course, the father picks one out of all 12, and he treats him the best, and all the others he treats them like shit, and but they're okay with it. They're not going to do anything about it, right? Biblical
And
family values.
exactly, and speaking of biblical family values, so we are on the book of Genesis, chapter 37. We are almost, we see the light at the end of the tunnel of Genesis, getting there to chapter 50. And on our first little section here, we can see a lovely little bit of absurdity and biblical family values. So we're already off to a good start. All right. You ready, James?
Let's go.
Jacob loved Joseph more than his other children. Oh, that's always a sentence you want to hear. All right.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Jacob's ladder dwelt in the land where his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan or Canaanite. These are the generations.
Back to Canaan.
Jacob's ladder. I know, we're back to Canaan. And I feel like this is a nice, I don't want to do biblical prophecy, but I feel like this is another place that will never, nothing. It's like, probably be like a Disney movie. Nothing bad will happen in Canaan. What stays in Canaan happens in Canaan.
Absolutely, yeah. Nothing can go wrong.
Nothing can go wrong. These are the generations of Jacob's ladder. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with his sons of Billabong, and the sons of Ziliph, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report.
Evil report?
Ooh. Jacob and his family settled in Canaan, as you do. When Joseph was 17 years old, he brought his father Jacob an evil report.
An evil report. That's an unusual phrase.
Yeah, that's not extremely detailed. Is it just like a report that just says evil? And he's like, wow, that is an evil report. You're right.
Maybe they just read like the previous couple chapters of this shit, and then they're like, it's an evil report.
It's an evil report. It's bad guys doing bad things all the bad time. Now, Israel, he got a new name, remember?
Jacob Ladder.
Jacob's ladder.
New name. Sometimes he's Jacob, sometimes he's Israel, whatever.
Yes. Every time that God gets kind of like a favorite pet, he's like, you almost killed your son or something. That's cool. Why don't you call you something new? Now, Israel loved Joseph more than all his children. Already, biblical family values were off to a great start because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. Man, we should make a musical about that. That'd be great. Jacob loved Joseph more than his other children, and he made it pretty obvious. He was like, hey, everyone, gather around. I love all of you, and I just want to announce one of you is getting a coat. Congratulations, Joseph. Man, I love you. And
the other guys, you can wear burlap sacks. You can wear whatever. Joseph gets a fucking coat.
Figure it out. But I love all of you. I really do. Okay. And when his brethren saw their father loved him, Papi, their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peacefully unto him. When his brethren saw that their father loved him more, they hated him. Well, I mean, he's making it pretty obvious, right? And could not speak peacefully to him. Okay, so we're starting to get back into Yahweh. What were you going to say?
When did we see something like this before? Didn't we see something like this before back in Genesis with the whole Cain and Abel thing where, in that case, God arbitrarily picked Abel to favor and said, Cain, get the fuck out of here. What are you doing with this shit?
Yeah. What are you doing here?
So Jacob, he's just following God's example. Okay, you just arbitrarily pick one to favor and you fuck over the rest of them. Nothing bad can happen.
That's true. I feel like a common theme is that you probably shouldn't pick your kids or one tribe over another, or da 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 da. Though
One wife out of your 7 wives, or more than that?
I have to say, I would not want to be families with any of the generations. I know we're eventually going to get to some good stuff in the Bible. That's what they tell us. But it's been a little saw-fest lately. Yahweh has been kind of playing with people.
You wouldn't want to be related to one of the dukes.
No, I would not.
Nope.
All right. Made him a coat of many colors, and they hated him. And just like the Tower of Babel, it's amazing how it seems like that passage. And we got the coat now, so nothing could be wrong. Joseph's first dream. Ooh, this is good. We have.
He's going to have his first wet dream?
Oh, baby, I hope so. So we have some hilarity, and we have some biblical family values going on here. And Joseph dreamed a dream. I mean, I guess as you
do, yeah, right?
As you do. And he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And they said unto him, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. Joseph dreamed and told it to his brothers. It reminds me of that song. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what's happening right now. Is Joseph put on the Technicolor dream coat and just sweet dreams are made of these. That's exactly what happened. Okay.
I'm sure it probably looks something like that, yeah.
And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. Okay. For behold you, we were binding sheaves in the field, and Io, my sheaf, arose. Oh, baby. And also stood upright. Well, I mean, what many euphemisms as you want to say. And behold, your sheaves stood round about and made upsets to my sheaf.
Oh.
Exactly.
Well, you never really know what they're talking about because of the language they do use when they are talking about something sexual. So how vague and roundabout they are.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know because the Bible does have about 4 or 5 ways of saying getting the naughty on. And sometimes I don't know if we're just injecting it or they're just trying to make, let's say, a roundabout. I'm here all night, folks.
Beat around the bush a little bit.
Exactly. And I love you all in chat. I'll be showing comments in just a second. Where were we? So we beholded the sheaves and
8.
And his brethren said to me, Shalt thou indeed reign over us? I don't know, should you? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. Joseph's brothers responded, So you're going to reign over us? And they hated him the more over it. So he got a coat, and they're like, Oh, nice rainbow coat you got there. You gonna reign over us?
Now, you all work for me now. I got this coat on.
I know. It's a very Joker-esque, isn't it? Tell him you all work for me now. I get the feeling that Joseph isn't doing any of this. I feel like he got a coat, and now Joseph is like being flung into this, just like kind of how like Isaac was like, "Where are we going, Daddy?" And Abraham was like, "Oh, we're going places, or to play ball, or something."
Why are you tying my hands, Dad? Why are you putting me on the altar with the wood?
It's a new form of baseball. You're gonna love it.
Why are you picking up that knife?
It's called knife ball. God says it's amazing. And
well, God says it's amazing. It must be amazing.
And just like that. Okay, wait. Oh. And a God said not to do it. Oh. Whew. So you're telling me he's going to live?
If he was a little too late, then he would have said, well, I mean, you already cut him. You might as well just finish it now.
I know. If like Abraham hadn't taken that leak and God would have been like 2 minutes late.
Yeah, he would have already been dead.
Exactly.
Light him up.
Okay. All right. Joseph's
Another
second
dream.
wet dream. Here we go.
This went quick. This was quick.
More hilarity and biblical family values. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream. More, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made, I still can't say it, absence to me. I feel like they're being very poetic here. Every once in a while, the Bible gets out of exposition mode, and they're like, and the sun, and the moon, and your eyes.
They all worship me. Yeah.
Exactly. And he told to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him. Snap, slap, slap. And said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to the earth? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the saying.
Observe the saying.
Joseph dreamed another dream and told it to his brothers, saying, I had another dream where the sun, moon, and the 11 stars worship me. Okie dokie. Joseph also told it to his father, Jacob, who said, Am I your mother and your brothers supposed to worship you? Joseph's brother envied him, but Jacob thought the dream might come true. Can you imagine if you went to like the mall and you brought home one of your children a coat, and then they started dreaming about how they reigned over the moon and the stars, and it caused this much like trouble? It's like, damn, this is the last time we go to Forever Yahweh.
Yeah, you need to take that shit back. This is causing a little bit of drama, but it's all part of the story, right?
I mean, that better have been a freaking nice coat. I mean, I'm not saying it's not worth it, but is it worth it?
It's a good plot device.
It's a good plot device.
It's a good plot device, yeah.
Yahweh's probably sitting here like, fucking rainbow coat, fucking humans. Okay.
Like, I bet you guys are all pissed off now. Let me send him another dream. Let me send him another dream. There you go. Tell them all about it, Joseph. See what they think.
And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him and said, okay, I did read. And his brother envied him, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Joseph's brothers get rid of Joseph. Here. Time to come. So we have hilarity. We have biblical family values. We have not only contradictions with itself, but my personal favorite, contradictions with science or history. Let's see.
Yeah, that's one of the big ones. They're contradictions with science and history.
So we're gonna read through the rest of this chapter, and then we're gonna open it up to open mic, and then we're gonna get through another chapter or two. But it'll be open mic after that.
How many verses in the chapter? How many verses total?
How many verses? So 12.
Yeah.
We're moving and grooving. Okay. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in I think I changed that to Schweppes, the soda. Yeah,
Schweppes
I think
ginger
Schweppes,
ale, yes.
Yeah, better ginger ale.
I don't think we're going to see Esau anymore. I think he's gone. So yeah.
No more Esau the seesaw. Hey,
I think he's gone. He went to Gehenna.
And I haven't seen Lesbian either. So, but they may come back in.
They died, and Lesbian died.
Yeah, and it doesn't.
Esau, he died.
And it doesn't matter because, sometimes they just are like, hey, here's a character. And they lived for 400 years, specifically 410 years. And then they died. What did they die from? Who the hell knows? Why were they important? Who the hell knows? But thank you. And we can't edit the Bible, so that's good. Good to have all that. 43 dukes we counted in the last chapter.
43 dukes, yeah. Each one very important, very amazing, full of wisdom and very profound.
Yes, and
real historical figures too. All of them. Real historical figures, all of them.
Yes, often
every last one.
Often quoted chapters. And okay. And Israel said unto Joseph, do not thy brethren feed the flock in Schweppes? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And I said to him, here I am, here am I. And he said to him, go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thee brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. We're back into Shakespeare mode, ladies and gentlemen. We switch between exposition mode and Shakespeare. So he sent him out of the Vale of Hebron. Oh, cool. We finally made it into Midar. We're back in the Vale. And he came to Schweppes, and a certain man found him. Oh, baby. And behold.
Man, wow.
He
could be Mr. Batman. Mr. Batman found him. It could be. It's just a certain man.
He was wandering in the field, and the man asked him, saying, what seekest thou?
Yo, I'm just looking for a little bit of boy. You got any?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Not a lot, because a lot would be too much, but a little bit. And he was wandering in the field, and the man asked him, saying, what seekest thou? So Joseph went to Shem to look for his brothers, but couldn't find him. And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where thee feed their flocks. He met a man who told them they'd gone to Gotham City. Oh, okay, Gotham.
So what he did was he found the local meth dealer, and he knew that his brothers would be making frequent contacts with him, so that guy's got to know.
See, it all makes sense.
If anybody's going to know, that guy will know. So, yeah.
I pray thee, where thee feed their flocks. And the man said, there are departed hence, for I heard them say, let us go to Gotham. And Joseph went with his brethren and found them in Gotham City, where they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them. They conspired against him to slay the dragon. Oh no, him. Okay. And they said unto another, behold, this dreamer cometh. Kinky. See, it was a wet dream. Yeah. Come now, therefore, and let us slay the dragon, or him, and cast him into some pit.
Some pit. Any pit. Yeah, whatever.
Honestly,
we'll find one.
We could go to Pits R Us, but any pit will do. And we will say, some evil beast hath devoured him. Oh, good. This is getting really Dungeons and Dragons-y. And we shall see what will become of his dreams. And roll for initiative. And Dave Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, let us not kill him. Oh, good, Dave Reuben. But Reuben had another idea. He said, let's not kill him. Oh, Jesus H. Okay, and Dave Reuben said unto him, shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness of RuneScape, and lay no hands upon him, that he may rid him out there of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. Look, we're not dicks. We can't just kill him.
Throw him in a pit.
Let's throw him in a pit.
I don't know about this plan. I'm detecting a few problems here, but let's see.
You're against pit plan?
Yeah. It seems like some Wile E. Coyote would come up with. You know, right before he blows himself up.
Yeah. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come, oh baby, unto his brethren,
oh baby, baby, that they stripped Joseph, oh baby's baby, out of his coat of many colors that was on him.
I mean, I see, but it's not really the same because it's not many colors. But yeah, it works. It works.
Those
We'll just pretend it's multicolored. Yeah.
Pretend it was multicolored, and we'll pretend it was exactly like that. Hopefully, it was actually more erotic than that. Okay.
I mean, they couldn't just go to Kohl's and buy a coats for everybody. They have like amazing sales, don't they? I mean,
exactly.
Get so worked up about a coat.
In fact, couldn't the story have been saved by just their dad being like, you know what? I'm going to order everyone a rainbow coat. And then this would have been over.
We'll get like 20 of them. Whatever.
And this is post Sodom and Gomorrah. So
right, yeah.
They
already nuked that place. After the flood, post-flood, post-Sodom. So,
and the funny thing about that is God keeps on telling it. Each time that God kills people, he's like, listen, this is the last time I'm going to do it using that technique. Not because I'm merciful, but I get bored.
Yeah, I'm not going to bludgeon you with a baseball bat again. No. Use a golf club or something else. But
yeah, not going to do water, not going to do fire. Are you guys a fan of frogs? Are you big on frogs? I'm kind of trying to turn it down. Okay. Anyway.
Or maybe just turn them all into salt. I mean, that seemed to work with Lot's wife, but.
And okay. Let's see. We're coming
24.
down. And they took him and cast him into a pit.
Into a pit of all places, go figure.
Those friggin' bastards. I'm just kidding, Jon Snow. You're amazing. And the pit was empty. There was no water in it. Okay.
Well, that's a good thing for them to let us know. Were there rocks in it? What was in there? There's just no water.
Were there talking snakes? Who knows? And they sat down to eat bread. Oh, it's a great time. Hey, you throw your brother into a pit. You get a little hungry. You want a snack. You earned a snack at that point.
You didn't kill him. I mean, they could have killed him, but, you know.
Could have killed him. That is such Yahweh logic right there.
I could have killed him. I didn't kill him, so can't really complain too much.
Okay, so we're having lunchtime. They lifted up their eyes and looked. I'm pretty sure that's the only way you can. And behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gillette with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. Wow, we just came back into New York City from Wakanda. Some Ishmaelites happened to pass by with their camels. Okay. Or I read that in my other voice. Some Ishmaelites happened to pass by with their camels. But at least we're back in a place we know. Here we go.
Back down to Egypt.
Back down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, hiccup. Excuse me. Okay, where are we? And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? You know, a daily conversation we all have. I mean, is that not relatable?
It happens in all families. This is just like the Bible. Their family is like your family. It's like my family. Exactly. It's all the same.
When Joseph's brothers saw them, Judah said, why should we kill our brother and then try to hide it? Oh, yeah. So pretty literal. Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him. Oh, see? This is going into happy places. And
what could go wrong? Sounds like a great plan.
For he is our brother. I really wish I could count the amount of times, because I have a metaphorical clock here that is counting down how many times the Bible endorses slavery. I should have kept an actual clock, because we're past dozens and dozens at this point, and we are not even at a Genesis.
And that's probably a lot of the times it says servants, that's what it's talking about, but it's just so vague, intentionally so. Intentionally
Okay.
vague.
We're going back into Final Fantasy VII. Then they passed by the Midianites merchantman, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And
They got ripped off
Joseph,
on that one. 20 pieces of silver? Come on. They could have got 30. Those merchants, they were laughing all the way to Egypt about the deal that they got on that guy.
Also, hello, everyone
Lost
in chat.
her.
In fact, while I'm here, hello, Doorknob, hello, Dog, hello, Peter and Jur, hello, Donald, hello, Robert. Trying to think. Hello, Spooky, all of the awesome people.
Do we have Titan yet? Is Titan been in here?
Titan Uranus. I would just want to say hello to Titan Uranus, even if he's not, because I saw him in the Tart.
He was in the Tart stream, yeah.
Stream.
So was Otangelo.
And Dave
Of
Gar.
all people.
And so is Otangelo.
So was Otangelo. Of all people. Our favorite young Earth creationist, Otangelo Grasso.
Sometimes I always find it odd when the creationists follow the atheist streams. Not odd in a bad way, but it makes me wonder, is he just coming to have a debate, or does he maybe have some doubts? Who knows? But we love you, Antangelo.
It's a different case with every one of them, but in that specific case, I don't think there's a lot going on up there. Just a theory.
And hello, Ian. And okay, we're almost gonna
just a few more minutes
to the end of this chapter. What I'm gonna actually do is I'm gonna send a link one more time in chat, and then I'm going to pin it. If anyone would like to join our live Skeptic Bible Study, they can.
Bonus points if you're wearing a rainbow, anything with a rainbow on it.
And bonus points if you're wearing pants. That's a mostly inside joke. But if you don't understand the joke, that's okay. We're just saying we're pants friendly here. And nothing can go wrong.
We're not going to inspect to make sure everybody's circumcised. We don't do that here.
Yes. We not only do we not inspect, but we won't demand that you get circumcised, and we then won't slaughter you after you get circumcised.
Because we don't really care.
We don't really care. But that just happened in the last chapter. So
it did just happen, yeah. Right before the Dukes that happened, yes. Before we're introduced to the Duke of Earl.
And
Gene Chandler.
So we got sold for 20 pieces of silver and brought Joseph into Egypt. And Midianites lifted Joseph. But so here we go. When Joseph's brothers saw them, Judah said, "Why should we kill our brother and then try to hide it?" Of course. So they started to schema and plana and his brothers agreed. But before they could do that, some Midianites passed by, and they're like, "Hey, we could endorse slavery again.
Why not?
Why not?" The Midianites lifted Joseph out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. See, I don't know. You're saying you think it's a bad buy? I don't know. It might be a good guy. I haven't been to Slaves R Us in a while. The R Us's are popular. They've been around for thousands of years. The Ishmaelites.
There was just a debate about slavery the other day. What was that guy? C.J. Cox. He debated the Rage on that. Ask him about it if it's a good price or not.
Yeah, got to get a good deal. You wouldn't want to get ripped off when you're buying human property. I mean, that would just ruin the entire concept.
And I almost forgot to plug our sponsor, Yahweh's Slave Beating Rods, guaranteed to last forever. They don't go. If anybody can offer a lifetime warranty on your beating rod, but this is gonna last forever. Customer service 24/7 to infinity. He's always there, ready to answer the phone to help you get the most out of your slave. Thank
Call
you.
now, and we'll include the Shaws to make sure that when you trick your slave into having a wife and kids, that they stay forever.
And maybe like a all, because that'll get dull after a while after you beat it through the doorpost so many times. So, yeah.
Oh, see, I was just on a Darth Dawkins channel, or one of his channels. Oh, I would love to have a precept. Come on. Come on,
Darth.
I want to explain my new eternal butthole concept, because that's what he was trying to figure out. What are eternals?
That's your eternal. That's your eternal.
It's what created the laws of physics. It's the eternal butthole. Now, it's not a sentient butthole, mind you. So,
it doesn't have personhood or agency.
No. It doesn't care who I have sex with. So already we are off to a better start.
He's not going to kill you for who you have sex with?
No. He's just gonna he's gonna sit there, just but. That's my butt rating. But not my butt, the almighty eternal butt.
He's not going to kill you?
Not gonna kill me.
Aw, that's kind of. What kind of God is that?
I know, it totally ruins. We were trying to go for an R rating because the PG-13 doesn't always stick. So
he wouldn't even flood the earth, I bet. I bet he wouldn't even do that.
He's totally not the God he used to be.
No, not at all.
All right, and let's bring us into the landing for this chapter. And Dave Rubin returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes.
They rent his clothes.
And he returned unto his brethren. I wonder if they had an app for that. And said, the child is not, and I, whither shall I go? I need to bring like an apple or a skull every time that they get very William Shakespeare on me.
I don't know. Anytime when you're going back to return your rental clothes or rent a new pair of pants, Gavin.
And man, all of this because my main man got a rainbow coat. It's a little messed up.
Taking it to the extreme, but
gotta find a fun name for Joseph. Gotta find a fun name. And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats. I'm gonna assume
a baby goat, yeah.
A baby goat, but why are we okay.
That's the technical term for a baby goat, is a kid.
But once again, it's just we're getting back to the I have a very South Park-esque image of just the goat being slaughtered from the neck. I don't know why, human sacrifice.
Well, you got to put some blood on the coat. Otherwise, Joseph got attacked by a beast, a member of the beast kind.
Ah, the beast kind. The brothers killed a goat, put its blood on Joseph's multicolored coat. Oh, they reckon his coat.
They stained his coat.
Brought the coat to their father. Dipped this coat in blood, and they're like, "Hey, Dad, how you like
happened?
How you like that coat you bought?"
Well, the rental place is going to be pissed when they see what happened to that coat. Yeah, we're going to get charged for that.
Yahweh. You need to bring this family in. Okay. We found this, and we don't know whether or not it's your son's coat. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, "This have we found. Know not whether it be thy son's coat or not." What are you playing games? What are you, Yahweh in the Garden of Eden, asking where's Adam and Eve, even though you supposedly know everything and are everywhere? And he kneweth, and said, It is my son's coat. An evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without, double rent in pieces. Jacob recognized the coat and said, It's my son's coat. An evil beast ate him. There is no doubt that Joseph was torn to pieces. And Jacob rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his loins, kinky, and mourned his son many days. And Jacob rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his loins. Okay, yeah. And all his sons and all his daughters couldn't pick up Humpty Dumpty again. No. Rose up to comfort him. But he refused to be comforted. And he said, For I will go down in the grave, metal, unto my son mourning. This his father wept for him. I'm cough again, what's that? And the Midianites, we're back in Final Fantasy VII, sold him into Egypt until Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard.
The chief captain.
The chief captain, not just any captain.
The chief captain. Back to that one. So,
yeah,
I just have one question here. Why doesn't Jacob just ask God what happened to Joseph? Weren't they wrestling around with each other like a couple chapters ago? So he had direct access to God. He talks to God. So why wouldn't he say, Hey, God, is this my son's coat? What happened to him? And God could tell him, No, your other kids just fucked him over and sold him to some guy in Egypt.
Yeah, his brothers actually jacked his coat, threw him in a pit, and sold him to a bunch of strangers. You know, sibling things. There's probably siblings here right now that are probably going, well, I mean,
that's a good plan. It's a good plan. Yeah.
And okay, so we're gonna open it up because we are coming down to our first
chapter review.
Woohoo!
Donald, welcome.
How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm all right.
Can you contain yourself from the excitement? There actually was excitement in this. It was just a little messed up so far.
He looks like he's ready for a funeral.
Following along in the chat. It's been interesting in there.
And I'm sending love once again to the chat. Not only joy to the chat, but all the mods out there. Thank you for being frigging awesome. And woohoo! I see. Oh, Rainbow Bernie. Hey,
Rainbow Bernie. That
woohoo!
no argument with that one.
I'm great. And
bonus points for Dak.
And okay, I actually now that I'm thinking about it, I want to get through 2 more chapters, and I'll tell you why. Because as if they just smushed and smashed everything together, the next chapter has nothing to do with Joseph. They don't even mention his name, and then they pick up right back over in the next chapter. And it's like, what?
Oh.
What?
That's what happens when it's multiple authors and everything is just kind of cobbled together, you know?
And
one author,
Bug.
yeah, they just insert some other guy's commentary in the middle, and there you go.
Or when you're trying to fill time because, you know, you got a half hour for your sitcom and, you know, there just wasn't enough written.
And you're all out of heroin. I mean, first world problems.
So like, hey, do any of the other writers have something I can insert here to lengthen this a bit?
And like, no, I'm sorry. All I got is a bunch of dukes. You can do another chapter about that.
Yeah.
Another chapter about dukes. I mean,
a whole chapter on Duke Nukem. Yep.
Another chapter on that. Maybe we could talk about
Yeah.
the seesaw for a little bit.
That chapter on the Dukes, that was definitely hazardous.
Or the lesbian. We'll do let's do the generations of the lesbian.
Let's talk about this. This was one of the most gangster things that I've read in the Bible. This is getting personal. This is getting within the family. I feel like they were swinging bats over here, digging pits.
Taking action. Being aggressive.
That city, what was that? Schweppes or whatever it was. I couldn't see it on my phone very well, because the tiny little print. I thought it was the city of Scrotum.
Hey, brain bug.
Oh, that you're tempting me, Donald. That's a good one. If anyone has a name,
that is gasoline on a fire.
If anyone has a name for Joseph, because he's going to be the theme of the next few chapters, except for the very next chapter. But, yeah, so if you can find a interesting, funny name, you tell me. And Donald, did you have any more thoughts?
Jose, yes. that was Jesus' dad,
Jose?
right?
Jose?
Joseph.
Yeah, that was Jesus' dad.
Yes. Okay. I think I'm getting it. Maybe it's going over.
Actually, no. That is. Names don't tend to translate very well, but that is one of the common translations of Jose and Joseph. They're commonly translated back and forth to each other. I actually met a Jose who had a child named Jesus. I met the child first. He introduced me to his parents, Maria and Jose. and by the way, they lived in a town named Bethlehem. Wait, was it Bethlehem? No, it wasn't Bethlehem. It was what's the other the other place that Jesus was from? Nazareth. That's what it was. Yeah, they lived in a town named Nazareth.
Oh.
In Spanish, it's pronounced Nazaret. The H is silent, but yeah, it was actually Nazareth. Same spelling. It's in the country of Panama, in the Darien Peninsula, very close to the border to Colombia.
Well, that's a good place to be close to.
Like at the time, it was like basically right at the end of where any roads would take you. Like there's like a little dirt road that would take you there, and that was, I mean, the paved roads ran out a long time before you got there.
Oh, Amy, I forgot to mention before we start the next chapter. Amy was on.
Come to think of it, no, even the dirt road ran out long before that. We had to take a boat there.
So, I'm sure everybody here is subscribed to Speed of Sound, Answers in Atheism. That's the new Amy was on there.
I love that name.
Answers in Atheism. It is a really good name. I have to give Speed credit for that. And he's a good user. He puts out a lot of good videos. Shout out to Speed of Sound or Answers in Atheism. But she had actually, she was on there, and a famous physicist was on that channel of all people. And he was giving everyone a free astrophysics lesson. And he told them all the fact that gravity does not act on gases, which surprised almost anybody who thought they knew anything about physics. But the famous, renowned astrophysicist Otangelo, he gave us that lesson. So check that one out.
Nobel Award winning.
Yeah,
I Nobel Award winning.
I heard something about that, or maybe I saw it. I'm not sure, but it was so shocking. My brain couldn't handle it. Couldn't hold on to it because, yeah, I mean, there's a reason we have air pressure. It's called air has weight.
Apparently not. Apparently it's just God pulling everything down. He once pulled down, and
Well, I mean, there's also a reason why the air pressure gets lower as you go up higher, because there's less air pushing down on it.
It's how God wants it. It's just God. It's just what he does.
It's what he does.
He wants it lower up there.
Yeah. I think the flying spaghetti monster story is at least closer to believable.
So, and it's just so wonderful how we can get these wonderful science lessons from these creationists, these Christians just diving into the depth of their knowledge and all the wisdom they can share with us, like famous physicists.
It's amazing how much they have learned without actually going to school for the subject and submitting papers. That's what I find the most fascinating.
Yeah. You don't have to spend 3 semesters studying biology. You could just read Genesis 1. You'll get everything you need to know out of that in 10 minutes. Oh, plug in Donald's channel. There you go.
Plug in everybody's channel because we want to support everybody here, building a community.
Yeah, thanks, Robert X.
And okay, Donald, in a second, we're going to go on to, or I guess now, unless you have anything else to say, we're moving on to the next chapter.
Well, the second one was up before you finished your sentence, so go ahead.
All right. So, out of friggin' nowhere, let's pretend like we didn't just throw someone's brother into a pit and sell them to slave masters and talk about Judah and Shua.
Why not? We don't have to pretend. We didn't do it. They did.
I know. And it can't be edited. That's what hurts me the most is just...
we need to go through it all because...
You can't edit
that way nobody
can
say...
Rescue him.
That way nobody can say we cherry-picked or we skipped around. We just read it all. The good, the bad, the ugly, the boring.
But my prediction is... it would maybe the Garden of Eden, because they need that for apparently the entire other religion that's coming, the New Testament. But you could remove 97% of Genesis and wouldn't have changed a goddamn thing. Nothing. We've been better off. There'd be no gained wisdom, no lost wisdom.
They wouldn't have to pretend they believe in a global flood. I mean, they wouldn't have to do that.
It would change that. Yeah. It would. The story would be slightly more believable if you removed a little, bit of it, and more believable if you removed more of it.
Going without the Dukes, though, that would be just a lot. That's a lot to take out.
Yeah. What could you do without the Dukes? Honestly,
43 of them.
If they
have less hazard.
Yes, the Dukes of Hazard. But all right. And so, what's on the menu, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, we're getting hot. We're trading in violence for some SEX. But of course, don't forget some good old-fashioned biblical family values.
Absolutely, like the ones we just saw.
There is a street just outside of downtown Los Angeles. I don't know, a mile or two out. I think that named Hazard. That actually it ends in a downhill, like a steep downhill run, and then a road that crosses it, but it doesn't continue on. There's just a cliff on the other side of that road. So very appropriately named.
Almost
something out of Wile E. Coyote, like something he would come up with.
Yeah. Somebody must have named that road Hazard because it actually was one.
I'm just reading ahead, and I see something that's gonna make Dan even look bad.
Wow, there's lots of fun. Okay, and it came to pass at the time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Aldamite, whose name was Hira. And
how did he turn into one of those?
Magic. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite. A certain Canaanite.
Like a certain pit.
Yes, that Canaanite was very certain.
Very certain. Full of certainty.
Of what? I have no idea, but it was definitely certain. It says so right there.
Lots of certainty. Whose name was Shua. And he took her and went in onto her. Once again.
Okay. Wow.
Sometimes I make up the euphemisms and I put the sex in. Sometimes the Bible is just like, hey, you know about sex? And then he went into it onto her. Okay, at about that time, Judah had sex with a Canaanite woman. Didn't they say something about that? Which resulted in 3 sons, Er, Onan, and Shelah.
Air, yeah, makes Dan look boring.
I know.
So they had
You all right,
triplets?
Amy?
I did. Allergies, probably.
Yeah, you sneezed one for each child.
I know. That's true. He did 3
The son,
sneezes.
when Dan is too long.
Yahweh was speaking through me. It collected lots of slow dust and cat hair particles until the doom.
Yahweh was speaking, but you didn't kill anybody, so.
I didn't, or sell my brother into slavery, so I'm doing good.
He named
But I
his
mean,
son
that's an
Error.
option to consider.
Option to consider. Biblical.
That's an option to consider. Biblical family values.
He named his son Error. Was that a mistake?
Probably. Yeah.
Donald,
The whole thing is a mistake.
I was about to say that I would like to know when someone does something right. You tell me, and we'll do that. And she conceived and bare a son, and he called his name Er. And
Error. Yeah. He named him Error.
Error. And she conceived again. Ooh, that happened quickly. And bare a son. They get busy in this book. And she called his name Onan. Okay.
I mean, they didn't have Netflix. There wasn't much else to do, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. When you're not selling people into slavery, you also got to be bumping into
Making more people that you can then sell into slavery.
Exactly. Don't forget to stone your disrespectful kids as well. Got to do all that good stuff.
So that slave beating rod, that also works on your children. And it's important to beat the hell out of them anytime they do anything wrong. But if that doesn't work, execute them. Family values.
And honestly, burning your kids alive before you beat them, it's a common mistake. It happens. The Bible.
It's not that big of a deal.
Can you imagine this? I mean, think about it. It says that he went onto her, like he introduced himself. I mean, imagine this. You meet some lady, you go up and you say hello, and then you go away for a few years and you come back and she's like, oh, hey, this is your son. He was just born a few months ago. And this is your other son who was born 9 months before that. And this is your other son who was born 9 months before that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she's just like pop, 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 pop. I don't know if it's one after the other. I mean, they are busy.
It says she conceived and bare a son, and then conceived again and bare a son, and conceived again and bare a son. But it only mentions them getting together the once.
Yeah, it probably is assuming that, but you still never know.
With the Bible's
biology lesson,
brilliant understanding of biology. Probably only met the once.
The way you want to think of biblical views on women is a good conveyor belt. Once you got that conveyor belt running, that assembly line working, you can just pump out all those kids. Especially if you're 600 years old. That's the best time.
Oh, yeah, especially
or if you're Sarah and your hobby is laughing at God.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, it's not biologically impossible. There are some life forms out there that can inseminate once and have babies years later as a result.
Yeah, they store the sperm. They have a special place to store it in.
Never known humans to be able to do that, but hey, this is biblical times and people live to 9,000 years old, give or take 90%. So
Well, we've had a lot of biblical science, so I mean, and yet
years, months, same thing, right?
Years, months, and bare a son, and called his name Shelley, because that's funnier, and he was at Chezib, when she bare him.
That's
All
important for us to
right.
know.
No, Robert, I'm just doing it for the fun.
Robert.
Da, da, da. Tamar, and Onan. All right.
Onan.
So we got some sex. We got some biblical family values. We have some cruelty or destruction. Oh
Violence.
boy, this will be a fun chapter. Some injustice. This is intolerance. And then some LGBT. Wow, this is a fun-loaded chapter right there.
6 or
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, get out your plates. And Judah took a wife for
this chapter is gonna go downhill quick.
See, Donald, I imagine it's like a caveman trying to say error. So it's like
Yeah.
makes me just sound special. I am special. Yeah. We're all special.
Yeah, what's this thing you made? It was a mistake. You mean
Yes. His firstborn, a mistake. Anyway, his name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. That
wow.
Escalated quickly.
Yes, it rather did, didn't it? Didn't even take the time to make an elaborate plan to drown him or something. Just slew him, just like that.
I mean, what about all the wicked people today God doesn't slay, or through history? I mean, maybe they're not as bad as
Well, free will wasn't important back then, apparently.
And this is like a mortal...
These days, God has to protect the free will of people who want to do bad things to other people, so that they, can violate the free will of the people they want to do bad things to.
Gotta keep you alive so I can mess with you.
I mean, maybe did something really bad. Maybe he picked up sticks on the wrong day, or maybe he had a thought about another man, an inappropriate thought. I mean, maybe something really bad. Wrong.
And this is such a Mortal Kombat kill. Like, they don't even say how they did it. It's just a finished him. And then the Lord slew him. Okay. And Judah said unto Onan, go onto thy brother's wife. Oh, baby. And
God just killed them.
Woohoo! And raise up seed to thy brother. Okay. Judah said unto Onan,
yeah, that's just wrong in so many ways.
Go have sex with your dead brother's wife. Okay, no, it is saying what we think it's saying.
Oh, yes. Here we go. This is where God condemns masturbation.
And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. And it came to pass when he went in on to his brother's wife. We're getting so Game of Thronesy again. That he spilled it onto the ground, lest that he should give seed to his brother. Onan spills his seed on the ground, and God kills him too. Did this just say that God? I'm sorry. Did this just say he pulled out and God killed him?
Yeah.
I had to collect my thoughts.
Yeah, that's what it's saying. Yeah.
You can see the gears. What the?
Yeah, if he had sex with his brother's wife while his brother was still alive, and made a baby with her, yeah, we would have been all right with that. But having sex with his dead brother's wife and then not getting her pregnant pissed Yahweh off because he can't get more followers that way.
Yeah. I mean, if he would have went into another town and kidnapped and murdered a bunch of people, God probably wouldn't have cared about that either.
And also, Ian, thank you for coming. Not quite like what we're watching now, but you get what I mean.
Hey.
Here all night, folks. Tip your waitress. All right. Where were we? It was getting pretty.
10. We're on 10.
Whew.
Is that why so many people prefer front-heavy waitresses? They're easier to tip.
Yes,
Probably.
exactly.
I thought that
What
might
did
have
Ur
been it.
do? Poor Ur. It doesn't say what Ur did. He pissed Scott off. But Onan, we know exactly what he did to piss Scott off. So, at least we know.
Yeah.
He
He
pulled
made a
out.
speech.
God didn't like it.
Yeah,
Man, that'd be
Yeah,
a funny
yeah.
commandment. Thou shalt
did.
not pull out.
yeah. Thou shalt not fail to get your brother's wife pregnant.
I mean, was Yahweh like standing over you in bed with like a gun to your head, like Dirty Harry, saying, "Go ahead, pull it out, make my
Yeah.
You
day."
gonna make a baby with that, or what? And the thing which he did displeased the Lord, which he slew
Yeah.
him also. Okay.
He did
Then-
that thing that displeases God.
So God's
failing
just
to get
killing
someone
people.
pregnant.
He's killing people.
It seems kind of bad math there, that Yahweh's like killing adults
Thank you, Randolph,
because
for the
they didn't make babies. I mean, he wants more people, so he's killing people because he wants more people. There's something
Yeah,
just
you
wrong
need-
with that math there.
Donald, you need as many babies. You need 12. Everyone should have 12. And Randolph, thank you so much for upvoting, and I hope you have an awesome time exercising. I am just getting back into riding my bike, and podcast has made that so much easier. So totally enjoy that.
Now, Randolph, quickly, one more thing. Just go ahead and go up and read that verse a couple more times, and don't make the mistake that Onan made, please. We don't want anything bad to happen to you.
This reminds me of the so-called pro-life position of how is that fetus supposed to die killing other people if he isn't born?
Dun dun dun. Also, hi Haley. Haley in the house.
Haley in the house with her guitar? No.
With her guitar. She ba. Where were we? It was just getting really
10.
Yahweh.
Oh, 11. Because, yeah,
One
God
of those
just
numbers.
killed him. God just killed him. So
Then said Judah to Tammy, his daughter-in-law, Raymond, a widow at thy father's house.
Remain a widow.
I'll tell
Close
you.
enough.
Well, does it say,
A ramen widow. Yeah, that's close enough.
Oh,
that's okay.
thank goodness. Keep reading. We're gonna get to it.
Tell Shelley, I like Shelley better. Tell Shelley, my son be grown, for he said, lest peradventure
Here
he
we go.
die also, as his brethren did, and Tamar the bar went and dwelt in his father's house, or her father's house.
Might as well use it if it's open.
They're not using it anymore. And in process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died. I mean, you wait
In
long
process of time, just somehow,
What?
somewhere, somewhen, she died.
What? No God slaying anybody this time? They just die?
Can I also
Apparently.
say, where the frick did God come from again? We were just like Yahweh, snuck away for a few chapters, and he wasn't doing anything. And he basically came back and cut someone in half.
Start
"Hi,
killing
guys."
people.
Well, I would like to know, in what ways is Yahweh slaying people that, that they could tell that these people didn't just die, that they were actually, slain by Yahweh? I mean, what exactly did he do to them that made it
Maybe he
that
left a
obvious
note on the
that Yahweh
body.
was slaying them?
Yahweh
Maybe.
was here.
Maybe he pulled out.
Yeah, maybe
You don't know.
maybe he carved it in their chest or something.
Yeah, Yahweh was here.
Slain by Yahweh.
Okay.
Like nobody else could have, carved slain by Yahweh into someone's chest after killing them. It had to be Yahweh did that, right?
Well, Yahweh would do it in a way that would be obvious that only he could have done it.
Yes, because back
It would've-
then everything Yahweh did was obvious that it was Yahweh doing it. As opposed
Of
to
course.
these days when absolutely nothing is unless you're extremely gullible.
Well, that, Donald, is called the doctrine of divine hiddenness, and that is a rabbit hole of rabbit holes.
Yes. Divine hiddenness, because the more hidden he is, the more divine he is. That's why they say God does things in mysterious ways, as opposed to God slays someone, and you know God did it because, it was obvious.
He only did that stuff back then. He doesn't do that today.
Don't you understand? The less evidence there is, the more faith you have to have. That's what it is, Donald.
And faith is important. Faith is so important.
That's why faith is important, because otherwise nobody'd believe a bit of that stuff.
What God wants you to do, he just wants you to arbitrarily say, I don't have a good reason to believe in this. There's not good evidence, but I'm just going to believe it anyway.
No, it's not I'm going to believe it anyway. It's therefore I'll believe it.
You're going to believe it in spite of the fact that there's not good evidence.
Yeah, it's like all this stuff that has actual evidence behind it, I'm not going to believe any of that stuff.
No.
Because, because faith is better than actual trust.
Because gravity does not work on gases, so therefore stars could never form on their own. It's got to be God making stars form.
Well,
because gravity can't pull all the gas together.
That
would sort of explain why Yahweh is supposedly, up there, right? Because, not made out of anything heavy enough to, actually sink down through the atmosphere, like, say, anything real.
Another shout out to Peter's weather report, but I have to admit that was a lovely moment. Like the whole chat, the whole stream was like, that can't be on Tangelo. Are you?
They thought it was a troll, and then he came on mic and he affirmed it. They thought it was somebody trolling him. And that's Otangelo.
Was that the same one? Was that the same one where Otangelo came in and said, what was it? Said that the universe was fine tuned for life.
He says that on every stream, I think. He always says that.
Okay.
That's one of his intelligent design talking points.
I was in one of those streams recently where he said something about, that the universe was fine tuned for life, and that it's ridiculous or stupid to believe otherwise. And I had to stop. I was eating at the time. I had to stop what I was doing and get in there and just straighten that out, because life is fine tuned. Life is fine tuned for the environment that it evolved in, not the other way around. I mean, think about it. If you're talking about you make a universe and then you make life, at what point did you fine tune the universe for that life? Does that mean the universe at some point in time was not fine tuned for life, and then you fine tuned it for life before you made the life, or did you make the life first and let it die and then fine tune the universe for it? Because neither one of them makes any sense.
Yahweh can chew gum and flood the earth at the same time, so he's doing everything all together.
And apparently
he does it whenever.
Apparently, he can supposedly fine-tune something for something that doesn't exist.
And
I mean, he's killing somebody for pulling out.
And then fine-tune something that doesn't exist for something that doesn't exist, because, that makes sense.
And what I really wanted to ask him is that if gravity doesn't affect gases, please give your own model for how solar systems form. And at that point, most creators go, well,
I know the answer to that.
For the model, I'm not trying to. I'm just questioning.
God did it.
Yeah, I know the answer to that.
What's that? God.
God made all the stars in like one day except for the sun.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
See? Nice and easy.
Yeah. And how did he do it? Well, he just did it. Yeah. There wasn't any method.
He's got names for all those stars, Donald. Even the big galaxies that are so far away we'll never see. He still named them all.
Yeah, hundreds of trillions of stars.
Yeah.
Every word in every dictionary of every language has got to be the name of a star, because Yahweh had to name them all, right?
He made them all in like 2 minutes or less. It was really easy.
Not,
And they're
not
all
to
there.
mention like all of the unpronounceable words that never got into any language.
Not yet. Eventually they will.
Not yet.
But
The unpronounceable ones.
yeah.
And okay, let's bring us into the landing.
Fair
This
adventure.
looks like a
Yeah, well-
fun chapter, or the fun, I guess, segment. And it'll be the last segment of this chapter, and then we'll do one more chapter for the night. So, Judah and Tamar. Oh, this looks like a fun one. We got some sex. We got some biblical family values. My personal
Judah and
favorite.
Tamar.
Man. We got some good old-fashioned absurdity. We have some cruelty and violence. We have some injustice. Injustice.
Yesterday, Judah and Tamara.
Today and tomorrow. We have some intolerance, and as always, some biblical wax at some good old feminism. All right.
Why not? Why not?
Why
What's
not?
What's
They
the
bring it
poison
on
symbol
themselves.
one?
Huh?
What's the poison symbol one?
Violence.
Okay.
Violence and cruelty.
Violence. Yeah.
Welcome, Claus.
Claus Balder, welcome.
Okay,
Is that Klaus? I thought that was Klaus.
Klaus.
It could
Can't
be.
tell.
It could
It
be.
It's
could
hard to say.
be. I
be,
am not the authority on pronunciation. Let me tell you, I'm the
We're
last.
we're struggling with these names in the Bible as it is, Donald. We're
Let me
this
I would
book is
just like-
kicking our ass.
I would like to say hi to Dan in the Bible. That's all.
Who were not dukes, unfortunately. They didn't make it up that high, but
Yeah, we got a shorter name in the Bible than Dan even.
we did.
Apparently the Bible authors didn't like short names because well, he didn't get to live very long, did he?
They got paid by the letter, the scribes, so the longer the letters, the more money.
Yeah, that must have been it. Yep. What about this new character? Just kill him off.
20
His
pieces
name's
of
not
silver. 20 pieces of silver. For your brother.
Okay. And it was
Just have you-
told.
Just have Yahweh kill him.
Exactly. And it was told Tamar, saying, Behold, thy father-in-law goeth up to Tamar to shear his sheep.
Oh,
Tamar
okay.
heard that her
Timah.
father-in-law
Timah.
was in
Did you-
Timoth to shear
What?
his sheep.
Wasn't that a character in South Park? Timmy.
What? How dare you? That is an original concept. Yes, absolutely. Timah.
Timmy!
Timmy.
He's a good guy. I like Timmy.
The best.
And
The best of the best.
And she put her window garments off her and covered her with a veil and wrapped herself and sat in an open place, which is, by the way, to Tamar, for she saw that Shelley was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife.
She went and rented some more clothes or rented out
So they-
somebody else's clothes.
So they gave her to him for some other reason.
She took off her widow's garments, covered herself with a veil, as she's getting dramatic, I can feel it, and sat in an open place, I would be too, on the way to Tamar, because Judah's son, Shelley, was grown and she hadn't been given to him as a wife. I feel like that's weird when you have to tell people that she hadn't been given to someone as a wife. But hey,
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they must have meant they gave her to him for some other reason on the way to Tin Man.
We
15.
We understand with all cat overlords. And okay, when Judah saw her, he thought her to be an harlot, but she covered her face. Ooh. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a harlot because
He
she had
thought-
covered her face.
He was going to otherwise offer her 20 pieces of silver for some fun, but she covered her face. So
it's all okay.
So that's what all the face covering was about in the Bible. Is that's everybody who's going around with it.
yeah, on the face.
So
In the face.
So basically, if you want to be mistaken for a harlot in the Bible,
yeah. Otherwise, the guys are going to be shooting all over your face, Donald. Come on now.
That explains it. No,
Yes.
no, that makes perfect sense of it.
Yeah,
right
the
there.
guys are going to be shooting all over your face. You need to cover that shit.
Baby.
It's splooge protection.
Woo-hoo. And okay, and he turned onto her, by the way, and said, "Go to thee, I pray thee. Let me come in onto thee." Oh. I mean, it says it right there. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. This seems to happen a lot in the Bible.
All over.
I was just joking, but he did. But he did offer to rent her services.
Is it not me, but the whole like, whoops, it's my daughter. Whoops, it's my sister. This keeps on happening in the Bible.
Yeah, it's a small world, you know.
Yeah, and then there's the other side. And then there's the other side of it in the Bible where they're like, I can't marry her. She's not closely enough related to me.
Gotta keep it in the family, Dom. Gotta keep it in the family. For he knew not.
She's like only a first cousin, you know. It's like,
I know. Where's the fun in that, right? And she said, "What wilt thou give me, that thou mayest come in onto me?" I mean, baby, hot. So Judas said, "Let me have sex with you." I mean, yeah. And he didn't know she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, "What will you give me to have sex with you?" Ooh. Okay.
This is escalating.
So the parts they came with weren't good enough for that. They need tools. Well, I got this thing over here. Try it with this.
And then
like,
Smokey Saint said,
"It's like, what is that? A banana?"
Ray Comfort, Banana Man. No? And he said,
and Smokey said,
"Hi, Smokey. How you doing out there?" And all the lovely other theists. And
that's what Yahweh designed bananas for, right?
Bananas, and that's right. Look at our hand. How could it have been made any other way? Well, agriculture and a little bit of artificial.
Okay. He'll never live that one down.
That was the famous one when Kent said, like, we can't make broccoli. Actually, we did make broccoli.
Yeah, we actually did. It's a mustard.
It's a form of mustard. Yeah.
That came up in my debate. You know, isn't it still a cabbage? Yes, and it's also still a mustard.
Yep.
What breaks my heart is when I first saw videos like that, I was like, he can't be real. Like, there's no. I like
Oven.
this. I would say even just like the banana video when you first see, even though Ray Comfort is actually a nice dude, or at least he comes off as a down to earth guy, that is just so ridiculously stupid that it's just like, come on, man, come on, really?
Yes, you don't want to watch those videos with your reading glasses on, you know, because you could break your reading glasses that way.
And then after that, of course, you take a physics lesson from the world-renowned astrophysicist / young Earth creationist.
The surprise face palmings, you know, just you gotta watch out for those.
And Robert, it's a very good point. I don't even know why you'd want to clothe your women. Why would you clothe your property? It's such a silly thing. Such a very silly concept.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be in the house all day, just cooking or giving birth.
You know,
after
some
they
people
give
buy clothes
birth
for their poodles and chihuahuas, so same basic concept, I suppose.
Same thing. The next thing you're gonna say they should be voting. Okay, can we calm down?
Yes. Let's get those poodles and chihuahuas some voting rights, shall we?
I know exactly. Poodles and women voting.
mail-in ballots from poodles. I mean, come on.
What I don't understand is why all these Yahweh believers aren't like writing in Yahweh on every political position. Because I mean, after all, don't they want him to be in charge? I mean,
Well, they pray for him. They
I
pray
would
for
highly
him.
encourage them to start writing in Yahweh. You know, I mean, especially if they don't see any humans like worth voting for. I mean, why not? You never know. Yahweh might just win by write-in, and maybe he'd actually show up and do the job, surprise everybody who doesn't believe he's real, and most of the people who claim to believe he's real. Okay, maybe all of the people who claim to believe he's real, but still, he might just surprise us.
Woo-hoo. Yeah,
18.
come on down, and get and actually shake our hand. We seem to have been slaying people, but now Yahweh seems a little
camera shy. Yeah.
And my Robert, my last thing to say like that, if you follow that train of thought, you're eventually gonna say, should we not have slaves? I mean, come on. Once again.
What were you saying earlier about,
you can take everything to absurdities like that,
It's just taking things to absurd levels.
What were you saying earlier about people back in those days having to have like a dozen kids? And now there's a verse about sending in a kid from the flock?
At least a dozen kids.
Yeah, I honestly, Donald, if you're not having a dozen kids, I feel like you're not a true Christian. No true Christian doesn't have a dozen kids.
You wouldn't have much of a flock, would you?
Well, I mean, you have to execute a few now and then for, disobedience or whatever, but, and then certain Christians might be...
name.
Certain ones might have even been kicked out of places like Chuck E. Cheese or whatnot, but that remains to be seen.
Yes.
And okay.
Yes, some of them could be kicked out of Chuck E. Cheese's for splooging on the floor, and other ones get killed by Yahweh for splooging on the floor. You just never know.
You never know.
You never know. And he said, what pledge shall I give thee? And she said, thy signet, and thy bracelets, and thy staff that is in thy hand. Thine hand, not thy hand. Thine
hand, yes.
And he gave it her. Wow, kinky. And came in onto her, and she conceived by him. I'm not even adding in the sex. That is what that's saying, right?
Yeah,
that is literally what that's saying. Yes, that is about as explicit as you could get in that Middle English.
He came in onto her.
Like, we have had butt babies, we've had oral sex, we've had lots of just regular sex, we've had
pulling out.
Well, it
wasn't us. It was just the Bible.
Well, yeah, I just mean in general. I mean, that's generally done.
Don't forget.
That's generally my weekends. But yes.
Don't forget lots of incest. Lots of incest.
For good measure.
Yeah. A lot of sodomy. And even sodomy in the family.
Yes. Same. Yes. I can't help thinking, maybe they, if Yahweh had given them a more modern language, like back in Adam and Eve's time, and let them just pass that down, maybe there would have been less misunderstandings. I mean, can you imagine, Yahweh coming up and saying, no, I said burn incense, not burn incest.
Amy, you're slacking. Where's the drums?
But I can't help it. I'm reading all the wonderful comments in chat. And I just want to tell you, Robert, I tried slavery too, but after being led around on a leash for a little while and getting pegged a few times, I'm like, all right. Anyway,
kind of gets a little old after a while.
Kind of gets a little old. In fact, that's the only type of slavery this channel endorses.
Yes. Whipped and creamed.
Flock your kids. Bad Bible, bad. Let me tell you, if you're
It
a
was
kid in the
Whipped cream
Bible,
sex. You got whipped and creamed.
all I want to say is grab a knife, kid, and buckle up because you're gonna have to fend for yourself.
And hold on tightly to your member down there.
Yes.
Never know
Yes,
when somebody will come by and want to make a little cut.
Well, the Catholic Church. Oh,
Yeah,
well,
and
that too.
And
So I
don't
was gonna say,
splooge on the ground while Yahweh's watching, because
Don't
you know
splooge
how
on the
dangerous
ground.
that is.
And the Catholic Church isn't invented yet, but let's just say keep your eye on all corners. Don't let anyone come around.
Well,
And
the Pope had a busy day of moving perverted priests around.
yes, exactly. And she arose and went and laid by her veil from her and put on the garments of her widowhood.
Widowhood.
Of her widowhood. It's almost like a god came by and just blew
like
him up, lady.
Was that like a hoodie?
Yes, it
widowhood?
was. Bukkake, yes. Somehow this book is very R-rated. This makes me wonder. I mean, this is just how terrible my brain is. But there has to be a human out there who has masturbated to the Bible, right? Man, is that a sin? Is it a sin to masturbate?
Only if you splooge on the Bible.
Only if you pull out.
That would be
That's right.
blasphemy.
Or the floor next to it. Or, well, pretty much anywhere else.
Anywhere. Pigskin condom. Yes, there you go.
Pigskin condoms, baby. Catholic popes invented whore jousting. It's exactly how it sounds. All right, whore jousting. See,
Whore jousting. Olympic sport.
If it ends in death, then it's no fun. If whore jousting ends in seeing who can fist each other better, then okay, fine.
If sodomy was an Olympic sport, Amy, if only. Gold medalist.
Well,
yeah,
exactly.
It
But I feel like
It
I'm
probably
becoming
was.
the Joe Rogan of that. Eventually, you can only get so many medals until I probably have to just start doing commentary. But yeah, there was a problem.
Like a Soviet general, just their chest just full of medals.
Just full of medals.
Yeah, well,
I like the thing.
It probably was an Olympic sport, but the last person to get to watch that sport became the salt of the earth. If you know what I mean.
I think I do. I'll take it. Sounds kinky. That's my hair. Okay. Also, I got this for you, Donald. And where were we?
Gotta wonder if that salt was
21,
in season, or you gotta wonder whether or not that salt was in season. Was that seasoned salt or?
Of course, it was.
Yes, it was. It was
iodized.
It was
iodized.
Typically Laurie's salt. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, "Where is the harlot that was openly by the wayside?" And they said, "There was no harlot in this place." I could just imagine, like, he's like covering his genitals. He's like, "What harlot? What sex?" Judas sent a friend to deliver the goat. Wow, it's the greatest of all time, to Tamar. To Tamar.
To deliver a goat. Whoa.
Timmy.
So
Action.
Action.
Get a goat for Timmy.
Action. Get a goat for Timmy. But he couldn't find her. Okay, that's
he looked for the whore, but he couldn't find her. There's cars drive up and down the street all the time looking for the right one. Yeah. If they don't find her, they got to go home. Yeah.
Trying to pay for his human property with a goat, and yeah.
She must have been a hell of a woman to be worth a goat. A whole goat.
A whole goat.
A whole goat.
Woo-hoo. Okay. Where were we?
Or a goat's hole. Either one.
We were on. He returned to Judah and said he couldn't find her. And Judah said, "Let her take it to her. Oh, baby, lest we be shamed. Shame, shame, shame. Behold, I sent this kid, and thou hast not found her. Let her keep
the things they find shame in.
Yes.
Like that's a shame.
They were finding shame in being hauled.
Now you find shame.
In being hauled. Yeah.
Let her keep the deposit so we aren't ashamed. And it came to pass about 3 months after.
Single hold or multi-hold, it really doesn't matter. They were ashamed of being hauled.
And it came to pass about 3 months after that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar thy daughter-in-law hath played the harlot. Oh, she's role-playing. And also, behold, she is with children by whoredom. And Judah said, bring her forth, and let her hit a blunt. Oh, no. Let her be burnt. That's not good at all. A few months
This
later,
is a new way of killing.
woohoo! A few months later, someone told Judah.
Isn't it interesting how that works? If they pull out and they don't get someone pregnant, they get killed for that. And if they do get someone pregnant, she gets killed for that.
So heads you win, tails you, or heads I win, tails you lose.
Basically, yeah, it's heads I lose, tails you lose.
So you want to be drowned or incinerated? Make your choice quick, because I got more people to kill.
Something like
and
that.
Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has played the harlot and is with
do you want
the
to be
child by whoredom.
Nondescriptly slain, or do you want to have somebody else be burned?
Nondescriptly slain means I drop a fucking rhinoceros on your ass. There you go. You happy with
like
that?
Yeah.
You happy with that?
And Judah said, find her.
At least that would have been more interesting if it said Yahweh dropped a rhinoceros on him.
There you go. Drop one on YouTube while we're at it.
Find her and burn her to death. And okay, so
killed by a unicorn.
When she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, by the man whose these are, am I with child? She said, discern, I pray thee, whose are these? The signet, the bracelets and staff. When Tamar was found and was brought to Judah, she said, I was impregnated by a man who gave me these things as a deposit. He put a deposit into my belly, and it turned out that it was his penis, and now I'm pregnant. Who is the man who owns this seal?
You mean that's where babies come from?
That's where babies come from?
The story's out. It's out.
Are you sure it's not the stork?
Don't tell Tangelo that no matter what you do. It'll just ruin his biology lecture.
Biblical biology. And Judah acknowledged them and said, she hath been more righteous than I, because that I gave her not to Shelley, my son, and he knew her again no more.
No more.
No more. No more. Judith acknowledged them and said, she is more righteous than I, because I didn't make my son Shelley have sex with her. And Judah didn't have sex with Tamar again.
Why not?
Why not? And it came to pass in the time of her travel that, behold, twins were in her womb. And it came to pass when she traveled that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet witch. Oh no, a scarlet thread, saying this came out first. Tamar had twins after she impregnated by her father-in-law. Ooh, Game of Thronesy. When the twins were delivered, the midwife put a scarlet thread on Zara's finger, saying, this hath come out first. And it came to pass, as he drew back... hold on a second. And it came to pass, as he drew back his hand, that, behold, his brother came out of the closet? Oh, good for him. And she said, how hast thou broken forth? This breach, oh my God, there's been a breach, shut it down, be upon thee. Therefore his name was called Phrase. And
I didn't know breaches were invented by then.
Pharrell.
Donald, they were quarantining even back then. Isn't that amazing? And afterward came out his brother. They're all coming out. Good
What I found amazing is that apparently somebody unknew someone in there in the biblical sense. How do you do that?
Donald,
You know, it's like, well, yes, I knew her, but then I unknew her, so I didn't know her anymore.
it's like when you're tired of, you want to be a virgin again, and so you undo all the sex you have. That's how it works.
Hey, it works.
It
We've all been there.
Exactly.
That would explain where Jesus came from.
Exactly. And okay, let's read this and do our chapter review and then bring it into our final chapter of the night. And afterward came out his brother that had the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zara.
Isn't that cool how his name has a name?
That is cool, Donald. Yes.
Really? I mean,
that is cool.
Not only did he get a name, but his name got a name as well.
and the place that they're in has a name, and that has a name.
We don't know what his name was, but we know what his name was called, so there's that.
And so, okay, we just finished reading the book of Genesis,
38.
Chapter 38. We're making our way, getting down to 50, which is the end of the chapter. What do you guys think? That was, we gave up some...
Riveting.
Some violence for some sex.
Riveting. Just nonstop action, nonstop wisdom.
Yes, there was definitely some riveting going on there.
Some jackhammering.
Some riveting.
I mean, a few people got killed. That's,
Yeah, and then there were those that, didn't get nailed and,
but you can't not kill anybody.
For not riveting someone.
I mean, they say, what would Jesus do? I mean, well, if you did what God would do, I mean, we'd all be carrying around cans of gasoline with lighters and dousing people with gasoline and lighting them on fire every time they did something we don't like. So
yeah, that's always sort of confused me, that people talk about what would Jesus do, like Jesus would only do good stuff. And yet they try to claim that Jesus and Yahweh are exactly the same being and therefore would do exactly the same things. But it's like, no, that wasn't Jesus that did that terrible thing. That was Yahweh. But Yahweh is perfectly good, so it must have been good when he did it. But Jesus wouldn't do anything like that.
Donald, Jesus and God are the same thing, and they do the same kinds of things. But they also are not the same thing, and they don't do similar things. You see what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. Yes.
There you go.
Like Jesus, dissonance is strong.
He would curse out a fig tree. Jesus would curse a fig tree, whereas God would flood the world. I mean, different scale of magnitude here.
As you do.
Mm.
And welcome back, Aunt Jer. I'm glad your cat has permitted you. I understand.
So basically what you're saying is that if Jesus found a fig tree that wasn't making figs, he'd kill it. And if Yahweh found a fig tree that wasn't making figs, he'd overwater it so it would die.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was well recorded in Mark. The disciples heard the conversation that Jesus was having with the tree because they wrote it down. That's how we know, because Jesus didn't actually write anything, but there were other people, who followed him around who did, and we know that this is true. And so that's what Jesus would do. He would talk to the tree, get pissed off, and start cursing. God would do something a little different.
Yahweh are the same. So if Jesus and Yahweh are the same person, what we should expect to see if we went back in time is somebody asking Jesus, "Why are you watering that fig tree?"
Donald, you're trying to put God into your little brain and force him into that box, and that's just not. You're not going to be able to do that, Donald.
And I just want to give a reminder.
My little brain only handles stuff that makes sense.
Listen,
just want to tell everybody, reminder to like and subscribe, and don't forget to also hit that bell button for all. And if you would also like to join our Skeptic Bible Study, episode 10, Joseph and the Technicolor Dream of Not Dying, come on in. We have pin the stream in chat. And if not, we're going to, in a second,
We're gonna move on. Yeah.
Chapter 39, our final chapter of the night.
If anybody would like to donate any purple hair coloring for Donald, send that right along, right back.
And don't forget to
Send
click
the
the
love.
share button. Don't forget to click the share button and look in there and see if there's any ways you can, spread the word about, this program. So
Spread
more
the
people can
seed.
find
Spread
it,
the
'cause,
seed.
What Donald just said.
Spread the
Help it
seed,
grow.
but don't pull
I
out.
mean-
Do not pull out whatever you do.
because if Yahweh or Jesus, whichever one he wants to go by at the time, kills fig trees by watering them, it's probably not a good idea to water this program to make it grow. Besides, it could be bad for the device you're watching it on. So yeah, better to use the share button.
But if you do that, just pray that God will fix the water damage.
Yeah.
Just got to pray.
Yes. If you damage your device by watering it, be sure to pray that it will get better.
James, Donald, don't straw man them. You need 2 people to pray. 2 people. Then you should be able to get anything.
And Darth Dawkins did tell us that prayer isn't miraculous. It's something that could happen, but God just tips his finger on the scale. It's not anything miraculous or supernatural.
Yes, so find a scarecrow to pray with.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just likes to see people suffer. You never know. Which Jesus, Amy? The guy that both was my waiter and cuts my lawn, but I tip both of them. I don't have a lawn, but you get my joke. It's an oldie but truey joke. I can't help it.
Yes, Yahweh likes to see people suffer, which is why he made a special place to do that to them forever.
Hollywood Jesus or Bollywood Jesus? Yes. In fact, what I want to see Hollywood Jesus and Bollywood Jesus make Yahweh. That's what I really want to see. Okay. Now, let's bring us in to
Back to Egypt. Back to Egypt.
Back to Joseph. Just random. It was like an intervention. And sure, Donald. You've been quiet. What's on your mind?
Did Jesus send his son Yahweh to earth to get killed?
Did Jesus send his son?
I think that was part of the plan. I don't know.
I think that's going to be in the sequel, but sure, let's go.
We've got a little ways before that.
I was just saying, if they're the same person, then shouldn't it work that way? That we could just switch the names, and the Old Testament could talk all about Jesus, and the New Testament could talk all about Yahweh because they're the same person, right?
Well, they wouldn't want to confuse people, Donald.
They wouldn't.
Don't be a megalomaniac and think that you can do it better than God. Now, that's megalomania, as we were just told by Darth Dawkins.
Yeah, I got.
Just because you would communicate clearly doesn't mean that's how God had to do it.
I got news for him. All the arguments out there about it's either God or complete randomness. Which it's a bad argument because nobody is arguing complete randomness did anything. But I would venture to say that complete randomness could do a better job than Yahweh.
And it's not random.
Go tell Darth. Tell Darth about it.
The funny thing about this, once again, it's just like if it was like a sitcom series or something. It's almost like the 70s, 80s or whatever, and they had like a cartoon in between. It was almost like Joseph had a story, and then we just had this little horrible sex thing, and then we're back to Joseph. Right back to Joseph.
Like a dream.
Yes.
Or a montage. Like a montage in a movie.
Does that tie in somewhere, or it's just inserted? Like Yahweh did to Mary.
It's inserted, Donald. It's inserted. Yes.
It's inserted. Just like when he pulled out. It's inserted. Okay. Porcupine buys Joseph.
Potiphar, yeah.
Once again, if you have any suggestions out there for Joseph, I've been trying to think of some funny. Maybe Josephine. Nah. And Joseph.
Joe.
It's just that PH on the end, you know. Just take the PH off.
And then you get what?
Jose. I told you it's the same name.
I'm
not kidding.
Okay, we can do Jose. You know what? We'll take it. If you got it. And Jose was brought down to Egypt. And Pop to tip my waitress had an officer, was an officer of Pharaoh.
The chief captain
of the guard. Chief captain.
Chief.
An Egyptian brought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. Porcupine had an officer of Pharaoh brought Jose from the Ishmaelites. And Lord was with Jose, and he was a prosperous man. And he was in the house of his master, slavery, the Egyptian. And his master, slavery, saw the Lord. Sorry, sun keeps on getting stuck in my throat. It's humans' property. Saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. Oh, I bet he did prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him day and night, baby, long and hard. And he made him.
He was a great slave. He was the best slave ever. I mean, that's what.
Oh, really? Did I miss a Mancher? That's probably my fault. I'm a poor multitasker, but I try anyway. Okay. And he served him, and he made him overseer of the house, and that was all he put in his hand. And it came to pass from the time he had made him overseer in the house, and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph.
The Lord of the Rings?
The Lord of the Rings. That's right. And the blessing of...
I just spelled out in the chat, by the way, what that's an acronym for, just so you know.
It's a Lord of the Rat Dung? Rat Dung?
A load of rat dung.
Woohoo!
It makes sense.
The biblical sex goats, baby. G.I. Joseph. I like that too.
With their the sticks. Remember the goats? They have to have the sticks where they copulate.
Yes. Well, that's how they made that
genetics.
coat of that's how they made that coat of many colors. You know, you put a bunch of gay pride flags behind the goats before they have sex, and you know then you get multicolored goats. You can get the fur off of and make coats of many colors.
Probably exactly how it happened.
Exactly how it happened.
Fits the Bible narrative pretty well.
It does.
Must be awfully close.
It got to be close. You're on the right track.
Were we on 5, 6? I think it's
yes,
6.
5, 6.
6. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, kinky, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. Joseph was good looking.
Notice he was better than a godly person. He was a goodly person.
He was a goodly person, and he was good looking. Ooh, Joseph's hot. That's what the Bible's trying to tell us? Nice.
That's what the Bible's trying to tell you, yeah. Potiphar's wife caught some attention to that.
He was a well-endowed, goodly person.
Well-endowed, goodly person.
Apparently so.
So this is just some good old sex. Pot Pie's wife.
Because you know goodliness is better than godliness.
Gotta be goodly. Goodly, I can't even say the Ned Flanders thing. Diggly diggly do, neighbor. And it came to pass after these things that his master wife
Ned Flanders diddling his neighbor?
Yes, exactly. Wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, "Lie with me." But he, Potiphar's
like this?
wife, exactly. Potiphar's wife looked at Joseph and said, "Lie with me." But he refused and said unto his master's wife, "Behold, my master wotteth not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand." But Joseph refused, saying, Your husband has entrusted me with everything he owns. No one in the house is greater than I am. You are the only thing he has that I can't possess. How could I do this wickedness against God? There is none greater in my house than I. Neither hath he kept back anything from me, but thee, because thou art his wife. How can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? I don't know. How can you? And it came to pass.
Lessons.
Take lessons. Try hard. And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph's day by day, and he hearkened not unto her, to lie by her or to be with her. But she kept asking, and Joseph
She kept bugging. She kept texting, and he's just ignoring him.
And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house and was like, this bitch be nagging to do his business. And there was none of the men of the house there within. None of even his bros were around. One day, Joseph...
Yes, none of the men that were there were of the house.
Yes. God. What the...
Of all the men there... Yeah, of all the men that were there, none of them were of the house.
Not even
house,
one.
The house didn't have any men that were there.
It did not. The house was menless.
They were all...
One,
They were all men of, like human parents, not men of the house.
one day,
So it would
Joseph
sound.
went...
So it would seem, yes.
One day, Joseph went into the house when there was no one else around. Okay.
Uh-oh.
And she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out. And Potiphar's wife grabbed his clothing, saying, lie with me. Okay, that seems fairly...
Yes, he ran away because, he didn't want to be dishonest. If she'd have said, tell the truth with me, he'd have been all right, But this whole lie with me thing, I mean, he's sticking around for that. You do your own lying.
Fine, you do your own lying.
Do it yourself.
Yeah, do it yourself. If you don't know how, get a book on do it yourself lying.
And it came to pass when she saw that he left his garment in her hand, and he was fled forth. And it came to pass when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and was fled forth. Okay, he left his garment in her hand. I mean, kinky, I guess.
Yes.
Joseph left his clothes in her hand and ran away.
Yeah, I wonder if he noticed he was, leaving his clothing behind. He's running out naked into the street, going, "Oh, there's a breeze out here." Didn't seem this breezy before I went into the house.
My, what a breeze. That she called unto the men of her house and spak unto them. Always sounds more porny when they say it that way. Saying,
Spak.
Yeah, saying,
let the wind blow high, let the wind blow low through the streets and make hill thou go. Oh.
Saying, see hath brought in an Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in unto me to lie with me. And I cried with a loud voice. After Joseph ran away, Potiphar's wife called the men of her house and said, Joseph tried to have sex with me, but I screamed, and he left his clothes with me and ran away.
Yes, he ran away, and then she cried.
Also, has the past not like many chapters just dedicated to sex and violence? It's just been sex and violence.
It's a big part. It's a big part of it, yeah.
Yes. A lot of the Bible seems to be about violent sex.
And welcome back, Randolph.
Hey,
That's
Randolph.
It's all about Yahweh effing us one way or another. So yeah, a lot of
got off the treadmill.
And don't worry,
Bible.
Not only are you cooling down, but a man just lost his clothing. He just held it in his girl's hand and ran.
Yes.
So he's cooling
down. So he was cooling down also.
He didn't. Maybe that's what happened to Gavin on that for the debate. Maybe someone else had his pants and he left, and the pants were still in the other person's hand. Probably what happened.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you're wearing those pants that they designed for strippers, that can happen pretty easily.
Oh, I think that's probably what happened with Gavin. Yeah, the
Snaps
stripper
come
pants.
undone, and away go your pants, and you don't even notice they're gone. Except there's more of a breeze than there used to be.
There's nothing like stripping for Jesus. And okay, he came in onto me, kinky, and it came to pass when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, "Oh wow, he's about to sing Purple Rain or whatever."
Yes, Randall, he's cooling fast.
Cooling down. That he left his garment with me in flood and got him out. He ran the frig out of here. And she laid up his garment by her until his Lord came home. Well, that was nice of her.
Randall says, I'm glad this stream wasn't named Gavin and the Technicolor Dream Pants.
Now that would have been really good.
Excuse me, Randolph.
Why didn't we think of that?
The chapter could have only been called that if he was wearing the Technicolor Dream Pants. You see?
Yes. Well, there's that.
That's the one thing. But I agree with you. It should have been called that. You just need to get.
Yes, that must be why.
Send Gavin some pants. I mean, come on.
He's never gonna live that down, is he?
Send the man some pants.
Send him some Technicolor Dream Pants.
Donald some purple Technicolor hair dye, and Gavin some pants. We are on the way.
Woohoo! And okay, we're almost at. This is, I think, a brief chapter, so we'll finish this, and then we'll just basically talk about what we just read.
Yeah.
And she spak. I won't do that often, but I just want you to know that hakalugi is what happens every time in my mind. Every time they say the word spak. Just want you to know that. And she
say it, don't spak it.
I know, exactly. According to these words, saying the Hebrew servant, oh my God, I keep on getting human property stuck in my throat. I'm sorry. Which thou hast.
Yeah, that.
Don't mind me. Which thou hast brought. I seriously should have made a marker. We would be up to like 100 times that they've endorsed slavery, and we're not out of even Genesis. We're not even into Leviticus and all the chapters that like the atheists like to quote.
No, we got a ways to go.
Yes, and it came to pass that I lifted up my voice and cried because he left.
I am down. It's like a song. They're about to break into song. They're about to lift up their voice and break into a musical number. That's really what it all comes down to with the Technicolor Dream Code.
Yeah, notice the specific detail there that they cried out because he left his garment. It's like, hey, you left your pants.
You left your pants. Okay. And which thou hast brought unto us came in on to mock me. You mock me. She told her husband about it, saying the Hebrew servant tried to have sex with me to mock me.
No. That's he wouldn't have sex with her. That's what he's mocking her. Like, what? Do you think I'm going to have sex with you? Yeah.
And it came to pass.
That's my interpretation.
That's a little weird of an excuse. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out.
Yep.
Okay. Well, honestly,
she was crying because he mocked her and didn't have sex with her and ran away.
She took his pants, Yep. I'm keeping these pants. I'm keeping
panties behind.
And you know what? I feel like Captain Josephine over here. I feel like nothing bad can go wrong after here. I think Jose has learned everything. What could go wrong? And Joseph is imprisoned. Oh, okay.
Oops.
Oopsie daisy. And okay.
Call the Duke.
Well, now when Mary wants to have Jesus, she's going to have some angel come and take care of that because, Jose's in prison.
Call the Duke. Call the Duke.
And okay, Joseph is in prison, a good amount of absurdity. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. When Potpie heard about his wife's accusation, he threw Josephine into prison. Oh man, that's not good.
Popeye?
Yeah, Popeye threw him right in there. And Jose's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in the prison.
Is that where the prisoners are? Okay, that makes sense.
They were prison bound, yes.
They were prison bound.
They were bound to end up in prison.
But the Lord was with Joseph and shewed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison.
Oh,
but God,
okay. It's not that bad.
At least he didn't have to walk around barefooted because, the Lord came in and shewed him mercy.
Exactly. But God was with Joseph. So the prison keeper made Joseph the master of all prisoners. Oh, goody. That's interesting. Don't worry. You're the master of
You're the
all
head prisoner.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, the head prisoner.
The head prisoner. What a wonderful type. And the keeper of the prisoner committed to Josephine's hand and all the prisoners that were in the prison. And whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison...
That's weird. So he has to do all their work for them. When they all get commanded, like, hey, all you prisoners, get busy and, like, build a wall over there. They're like, well, you're supposed to be doing that. Because it says, right here in this book, you're the doer of everything we do. So get to work.
We're manufacturing hair dye today.
Yeah. And okay, we're gonna take us into
purple grapes.
Out of purple grapes, and take us into the landing. The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him, and that which he did, the Lord made it to prosper. And okay, hold on just 1 second.
Prosperous purple grapes.
Purple grapes.
Purple grapes.
So
I mean,
we
that would have been fine.
Finished the book of Genesis, chapter 39. If you're just joining us now, we've been reading the Skeptic Bible Study, Joseph and the Technicolor Dream of Not Dying. And so we just read basically the story of Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. He gets his fantastic rainbow coat, and everything, of course, was going to be nice and happy forever until it turned out that the brothers were not so happy about it and decided to sell him into slavery, dip his coat into blood, and get rid of him through a pit. So
the pit.
They bloodstained his nice. They bloodstained his nice gay flag coat.
Yeah, it's like Sodom and Gomorrah all over again.
More or less, yeah. Except without the gang raping or the angel rape. So
Well, there's always time for more, Donald.
Well, this is true.
Yeah,
it's not
we'll
over
get yet.
Yeah, for those of us who have read ahead, there's that. But
the men of Sodom, came. Good night, Randall. The men of Sodom came unto Amy, and she said, "Don't threaten me with a good time."
Exactly.
Yes. All of the men in the entire city.
Every last one of them. They were all there.
Because that's how it works. It doesn't matter. Married, engaged, single.
Nope.
Not quite an adult yet. Whatever.
No. Infants, even, I'm sure.
Yes.
Too.
Yes, all of the male fetuses had to come there and demand their turn as well.
As you would, Donald, as you would. We would all be only that lucky.
And so, what do you guys think about the smashed, also random chapter in between?
The spilling seed, and that was very it was very powerful. It was very informative, just chock full of wisdom, and just so profoundly meaningful.
I can just
I know,
just see
all
it,
the wisdom.
all the people, all the men of Sodom, yelling out, praying to Yahweh. Do you have any salt to go this angel booty?
You need all that angel booty, Donald. Got to get all of it.
Well, I'm not going to take it away from him.
And so, what do you guys then think of Joseph's life right now? I would not want to be Joseph.
So he gets sold into slavery, but hey, God's watching his back. He's like the head slave for Potiphar there. He's the head slave, and God makes him good looking. And, Potiphar's wife, she gets a glimpse of this guy, and she is just bugging him every day. Come on, have sex with me, please, please, have sex with me. And then she gets mad. She ends up ripping his pants off, and tells Potiphar what happened, and Potiphar throws him in prison. But it's okay because God still has got his back, and he's the head prisoner. Now that would have been okay, Amy. Like if you were to be incarcerated, it'd be fine as long as you're the head prisoner there.
Well, as I'm the head prisoner.
So his jacket got left with his brothers, who got blood all over it, and didn't give it back to him. And then his pants got left with that lady. So what's he left wearing?
Well, at least they put blood on the coat, not semen, because then somebody might have died.
Yeah. I wonder.
Someone might have had a rhinoceros dropped on their ass.
I wonder if that lady he left his pants with is going to get blood on his pants as well. I suppose it depends on what time of the month she's wearing them.
Now the insight on this, the commentary from the Christians on this one is that Potiphar knew that his wife was lying, making up the rape allegation, so that's why he didn't kill Joseph. He just put him in prison for a little while because he knew she was making it up, but he wouldn't shame his wife by doing nothing, but he wasn't going to kill him over it because he knew that she was a harlot, I guess is the biblical term. But it's important to remember that God also, he's got a plan through all this shit that's happening. God's got a plan. And you know what that plan is, Amy? He wants all his people. He's got to get all his people into Egypt so they can be enslaved. So this is how he's going to get. Yeah, Joseph is like the carrot, and he's dragging them along. Okay, guys, come on into Egypt. Come on, it's okay. It's all right. I'm down with the Pharaoh. He's cool with me.
Are you down with Pharaoh?
Joseph is totally down with the Pharaoh, or he will be shortly.
Is harlot like giggling? Like the big laugh, har har har, and then the little harlot.
Well, I always thought when Joseph when he got released from prison, that he probably would have had her killed for that, but apparently he didn't do that. He just let her be, despite the the false rape allegation. But he's a very forgiving man, Joseph, and that's the moral of the story. It's a story about redemption and forgiveness, and
maybe it was the only way he could get his pants back.
I mean, once he gets promoted, he'd probably be able to buy any pants he wanted to, but yeah, maybe he really liked that pair of pants.
Yeah, maybe he really liked
sentimental value. Sentimental value.
Maybe they just went well with that jacket that he didn't know had blood all over it yet.
I mean, as long as it's not menstrual blood, that stuff is like nuclear waste. You don't want to even get within a mile of that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
It's toxic, in fact.
You know, you never know. I mean, he might have got his jacket back and went, hey, you made it more colorful than it was. There wasn't any red on there before.
I'm sure it had to have red on it, but then, you know,
never know.
It'd be fun.
It said many colors. It really doesn't say which ones.
It would be funny if they tried to put that coat on Joseph and it didn't fit him anymore, so then they could tease him like, Joseph, what the fuck you been eating over here? You know, we send you into slavery, and you're like 40 pounds up from where you were. What happened, Joseph?
We
Egyptian
sent you
food is high in fat.
A little kid, and somehow we sent you into slavery when you were a little kid, and somehow you grew out of your coat.
And sorry about that.
No, you're good.
My little type and saying, want to just say thank you to everyone in chat, and I think that is gonna wrap us up. I want to thank James W., Donald, Robert, Aunt Jer, Ian.
Don't forget this guy. You got to thank him.
Speed,
he's part of the show.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Gizmo. Thank you, Doorknob, Randolph.
He was participating in the show.
And Dog. And anyone else that I missed. I hope you all had a great time listening to this night's Skeptic Bible Study episode.
Thanks, guys.
Joseph and the Technicolor Dream of Not Dying, where we learn that if you wear a rainbow jacket your dad gave you, your brothers may beat you over the head, dig a pit, and sell you into slavery.
So and put blood on your jacket.
Sounds like a fun weekend.
Woohoo! So plenty of biblical.
And then somebody might steal your pants and cry about it.
and remember, for God's sake, don't spill any seed on the ground.
Don't
do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it. So
yes. If you're a farmer, remember, don't spill your seeds.
Don't spill your seeds. So plenty of biblical family values to go around, in which case I hope you all keep being skeptical. And until next time, bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thanks. We'll see you next.